Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all, and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga.
Yo, yo, yo. What is up? What is up? We are back with another amazing episode. If you don't know, let me let you know. This is the Super Breakdown.
Now you know.
Now you know. If you don't know, now you know. Oh, man. This whole month has been really fun. It's been incredibly fun. Doing our movie monster march has been.
And it is spring now. Oh
yeah, it's spring now. Yes, bring on that warm weather. Bring on the green trees. I'm tired of the dark and gloominess. But yes, movie monster march is continuing. We got this episode and then one more episode within movie monster march. But if you don't know, I am Power Maximus, and I'm here with everyone's favorite Darth Legacy, Jason M40.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Lord Triage was unable to join us today, but we keep him in our spirits. But definitely he will be with us as soon as he possibly can. But we have just spent the last month watching old monster movies, and it has been, to me personally, it's been really, really fucking refreshing.
It has been. You know what? I agree with that. It's been like a little escape, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, escape from the CGI, escape from the superheroes, escape from just all the BS that we got to deal with films these days. But it just, I don't know, it just felt so much better to watch some of these old movies, and some of these are old movies that I had never watched before.
Same.
Like,
and honestly, like, in my opinion, some of the movies that we've decided to talk about and watch were definitely worth a watch.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think we've had a garbage movie yet.
If you are a true horror fan out there and you legitimately love classic cult horror movies, the movie that we are going to talk about today is definitely in that category.
Yeah, and again, just like we said with John Carpenter's The Thing, this film's not for the squeamish. It's not nearly as bad. It's not nearly as as out there as The Thing, but it's definitely it was definitely a watch. There was definitely a few points that had me kind of like, cringe up. We are talking about Mimic, 1997's Mimic, Guillermo del Toro's Mimic. Man, this man Guillermo del Toro is he's a fucking evil genius, I swear.
Yeah.
When it comes to horror, and
Yeah.
oh man, like anybody that does this horror, they just need to get him to direct it. They just need to get him to direct it.
I definitely would recommend that you do not watch this movie, Mimic, with your 10-year-old child.
Do not.
Yeah, I wouldn't
unless you want them to have a wild fear of insects and bugs alike. I would not. I definitely would not. And see, that's what threw me off. That's what threw me off about this shit. And I'm gonna have to have a word with Triage, because he ain't tell me that this goddamn thing was about bugs. I see Mimic, and I think it's like a creature that's just like that's like kind of like The Thing that's like turning into people.
I
You know
thought
what
it
I'm
was.
saying?
I thought it was. Like some type of alien at first, or like some undiscovered bug.
Like
Uh,
cryptid or
or
something. I didn't even know it was a bug. I had no
but
clue it was a damn
of
bug.
all things, a cockroach.
Of all things, a fucking roach. A
Yeah.
damn roach.
So if you have a phobia of roaches, also I would not recommend watching it.
Yes, if you don't like bugs, if you don't fuck with bugs, just don't.
Other
Right.
than that,
Other than that,
this movie was pretty good.
yeah, no, it definitely was. For those you don't know, again, we're talking about 1997's Mimic. It's a science fiction horror film directed by Guillermo del Toro, also written by del Toro and Matt Robinson. It's based off of Donald A. Williams' short story with it has the same name. This film stars Josh Brolin, that Thanos himself in this film,
Yeah. He's a
right?
little bit younger, obviously.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like, is that really Josh Brolin? It don't look right. It don't. I don't know. He just because we're used to seeing him like old, gruff looking, salt and peppered, But yeah, no, man, it almost didn't look like him.
You can tell it's still Josh Brolin though with his voice.
Yeah, the voice didn't change at all. The voice did not change. But this film was produced by Dimension Films, which if you were born and raised in the 90s and early 2000s, Dimension Films, you know that damn logo anywhere. And if you see that logo on there, Dimension Films, you know it's gonna be a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, let's just go through Dimension Films track record, right? Let's just go through their track record. All right. So we're talking about films like The Crow. We're talking
Mm.
about films like the Halloween series,
Mm.
From Dusk Till Dawn,
Mm.
Wes Craven's Scream,
Oh my God.
Scream 2,
Eh.
right? But now we're talking about the Spy Kids films.
That's a change, but cool.
Yeah, no, they did the Spy Kids films, all three of them.
That's sick.
Apparently, there's 4 of them now. But they also did the Scary Movies.
Wow.
Which I'm hyped because they are coming back. They're making a comeback. The Wayans brothers have officially gotten the rights back to do the Scary Movie films. Marlon Wayans, and Sean, and I think one of their other brothers is heading it up. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. All right.
Honestly, that's kind of interesting because that's another movie series too. The Scary Movie series, before the Scary Movie series came out, there really was not movies being made like that yet.
Yeah, there was no like parody films they were not a thing. They were not a thing. The Wayans brothers kicked off really truly honest. I mean, like there
I
were
mean,
films that like maybe like had like made fun of like another film here or there, but like they took the parody films and made it mainstream.
even Austin Powers, like making
Mm-hmm.
fun of the 007 series, like that came
Yep.
after.
Yep. But now we got Dimension Films, so they so once they separated from Miramax, Dimension Films, they co-produced like a lot of big titles, especially with MGM, like Amityville Horror, Black Christmas,
Oh yeah.
the '07 Halloween, and then they did the Mist as well, and then they were doing a bunch of grindhouse films with Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez.
Big names, big
Yep,
names.
Scream 4, Apollo 18, Dark Skies, man, it just the list just goes on and on and on and on. So when you see Dimension Films for the young kids, you watch a movie and you see the title come up, Dimension Films, understand that you're about to see something really, really good. Really, really good.
Facts.
All right. But then on top of that, now we also got to look at Miramax as well. Miramax, give it up, man. Miramax was the shit back in the day. We saw Miramax, you knew you were about to watch something good as well.
Yeah, I fully agree because they've been around too.
Yeah, they've been around for a very, very long time, and like they've so Miramax is more so of a distributing company, not as much so as a not so much as a like a production company, but more so of a distribution company. All right.
Gotcha.
But again, the list goes on. A lot of the films, it was always Dimension and Miramax. Dimension Films makes it, Miramax puts it out. But apparently they don't do business together no more. They separated, they split.
Huh.
But again, a lot of those names, you're gonna see Miramax on there. You're gonna see Miramax. Anything Dimension Films from back in the day, you're gonna see Miramax on there. They currently they've done a lot of work with Disney, DreamWorks, Sony Animation. Yeah, so they've everything. So like we're looking at Hellraiser, Children of the Corn, Three Colors, The Crow. We're looking at The Prophecy, Halloween, From Dusk Till Dawn, A Police Story. Nobody was ready for that one. Scream, Mimic, Bounty Hunter, fucking Air Bud.
Wow, that's a difference.
Yep.
That's funny. You know what? He makes all these like classic horror films, and then you got movies like Spy Kids and Air Bud.
And Pokemon the movie.
Yeah.
Bionicles. They also did Kill Bill, Bad Santa.
Bionicles. Holy shit.
Sin City. Yeah, so yeah, they've been around for a while. Fucking Pulp Fiction.
Wow.
Yeah, so they've been around for a while. I think most recently they did Jason Statham's The Beekeeper.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. So this film it was going to succeed. I feel like it was going to succeed from the start. Yeah.
Now this film, yeah, this film again, Mimic. If like I said before, you know, if you are a true classic horror fan, I highly recommend you watch this movie. It has all of the classic like things that would make a horror film scary, and the suspense is good, the build-up is good, and honestly speaking, for the age of the film, the way they make the creature, it really is not that bad.
Yeah, the CG on the creature really wasn't bad.
It really was not that bad.
And that was my big thing too while I was watching. I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is actually pretty good. It
could have been so much worse.
Yeah, absolutely. So much worse. Right? Like, and now Mimic, let's get into the plot, really, what this story is really about. So it takes place in New York City, right? Cockroaches, they're spreading a disease called Strickler's disease that is killing hundreds of the city's kids. Now, unable to develop a cure for the disease, Dr. Peter Mann, spelled with 2 M's, who is the deputy director of the CDC, recruits an etymologist for her name is Dr. Susan Taylor. And pretty much she genetically engineers and creates what's called they call it the Judas Breed, which is a hybrid between a mantis and a termite that releases an enzyme that accelerates the roach's metabolism. So this way, the roaches burn calories faster than they can nourish themselves and pretty much starve themselves to death. The roaches carrying the disease, they're pretty much eradicated, and then the two of them end up getting married. Right, 3 years later, a priest is chased and dragged underground by an assailant. Right, with the only witness being a little boy who is essentially not completely nonverbal, but also is he's definitely special needs, so he's not completely verbal. But yeah, so that's pretty much the thing of it, right? So, but they engineered these, the Judas breed to pretty much die off. They're supposed to do their job and then die off. But unfortunately, like we've been seeing the entire fucking month,
That didn't go according to plan.
Yeah. Life finds a way. Life finds a way. So what ends up happening is 3 years go by after they, put these bugs out there and they left them. I'm just saying, first off, it was me. That was kind of stupid. It was kind of stupid. I'm sorry. I gotta say, it's kind of stupid, right?
I mean, if you engineer an insect to die off,
anything.
I mean, after it does what you engineer it to do, and you engineer it to die off, like when it's done, I would still have worries. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna sit there and let it do its job. And then I'm going through the subways and the sewers with a fucking flamethrower. And I'm
just to make sure.
Right? You would think. But I feel like this is a situation where, like, I feel like this is kind of different. It's slightly different from the issues that we have been talking about before with people in the white lab coats and stuff. That's, a lot of times it's just been them doing shit just because they can. In this situation,
I will agree with you there. I will agree with you. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, this situation was different. There was something that desperately needed to be done, or people were gonna die. They did what they did. Yeah, children. They did what they did in the absolute best of intentions. But as we all know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They did everything they could, and it's not like they wanted to do it. It's something that they found like, I think this is something that we got to do. And even then, throughout the film, the main character, she goes back and forth with herself, and honestly, the characters themselves go back and forth with themselves with, should we have done that? Should we not have done that? It's just something that we really should have done. They themselves aren't at peace with, doing, genetically engineering and creating something, creating a whole new species.
Yeah.
Right. They were already kind of like, I don't know. I don't know about this. But so that's something that I found interesting. Unlike the other films that we watched this month.
The reward that they were risking was greater because they were, trying to save the lives of hundreds, probably thousands of children in New York City. So
so this is not a situation of mad scientists playing God. This is a situation of a scientists doing whatever they can or trying to find a solution to to the problem. And to be honest, like on the surface, it wasn't a bad idea. It was, they're thinking, all right, it wasn't. And they're like, they were cautious. They clearly should have been more cautious, but they were cautious and made sure they put essentially a self-destruct order in there. You know what I mean? They're like, all right, yeah, yes, we want to create something that's going to kill the creatures that we're trying to kill, but we also don't want the creature that does the killing to eventually end up becoming a problem. So they were very, very cautious, and the plan was decently.
Let's add in a button where we can kill them.
Or at least more so they kill themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But again, clearly they didn't watch Jurassic Park. life finds a way. Evolution finds a way. That is like any living creature that are the innate primal instinct is to survive, is for their genetic DNA to survive.
100%.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is one day these kids pop up to the chick Susan's office because she's an etymologist, which is somebody who studies animals and bugs. And so they're like, hey, Miss Lady, we're gonna sell you all these dead butterflies and shit like that for some bread. A bunch of little street kids and trying to get some money. She's like, cool. And she ends up purchasing the box from her because they're like, yeah, this bug's crazy, it's different. You're gonna get us a lot of money for it. She buys it, she opens it up, and now she's looking at it and she's like, what the fuck? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. And it's a baby. Because again, she genetically engineered the bugs. She knows what they look like at all stages. So she's looking at it like, ain't no way this is a baby. Like if anything, I would you would have expected to see like a mature, adult, Judas bug. But this is a baby. And so she's like, oh, hell no. All right, bet, cool. So she tells her husband, again, who is the the assistant director of the CDC, deputy director of the CDC, and he's like, oh, to be honest, I'll be honest, I really think we did our job, but babe, since this is bothering you, let's go check it out, because to be honest, we need to be sure and make sure that this shit's not a problem, because these bugs could be a problem.
These bugs don't look the nicest of creatures.
Yeah. She's like, we made these things to do a certain job, and they did the job, but now they could end up becoming the new roach problem. Right? But when they go through, they investigate, and next thing you know, they end up getting a call from one of her homegirls, and she's like, yo, my homeboy over here at the water treatment plant found some shit, and he says, I think you should take a look at it. They go and take a look at it, and it's a big ass bug. And it's like, it's probably about 100 times bigger than the baby bug.
Yeah, we're talking about like
the size of a dog.
They essentially find I would agree with you. It's probably about the size of a medium-sized dog, on the larger side there.
Yep, definitely a medium-sized dog. And
it's just like a giant cockroach that walks.
Yeah. And then throughout the film, we see this tall, like shrouded, being that's just been walking around and shit like that, right? Looks like he got a trench coat on and shit like that, head down, whatever. And it's just like, roaming around doing shit. But essentially, we end up finding out that the entity or whatever that's just been walking around and doing shit with the trench coat is actually, mind you, this shit's about 6 foot tall. Bipedal. 6 foot tall. Right? So you're thinking, oh, it's just a really tall nigga in a trench coat. No, that's a fucking Judas bug. Right? But what ends up happening is that within those 3 years, they didn't die. And what they had done is that they had modified the bug's metabolic system to kind of conk out. They pretty much sped up its metabolic rate. Pretty much the same thing that the bugs were supposed to do to the roaches, they did to the Judas breed. Problem is, and they never really discussed how or why they were able to grow that large and continue to live and grow. But because they sped up their metabolic rate, they pretty much ate up all the fucking roaches, which gave them all of the resource that they needed to continue to grow.
Yeah, I think essentially what they had tried to plan for is because if like they sped up their metabolic rate of this creature that they made to solve their problem, but they sped up the metabolic rate so like after it was done, the metabolic rate would increase in the body and essentially
They were
it would
starved to
waste
death.
away. Yeah,
Yeah,
it would waste
yeah.
away, but
But
it backfired, and because they increased the metabolic rate,
it makes them grow
essentially,
faster.
yeah, and the bugs just figured out, oh, let's just keep eating.
Yeah. So what I don't know, from what I was gathering was that so they genetically engineered them to be all female and all sterile, right? But life finds a way. Life finds a fucking way. And I'm thinking there's a possibility that like I think maybe like the bug, what like one of the female bugs had made it with maybe a fertile male cockroach or whatever, and that's how they were kind of like kept going or whatever.
It's
And
possible.
yeah, that's the only thing that would make sense because it's like,
Or if, I mean, the female just basically reproduced asexually and cloned itself.
yep,
But
there's also that as well. There's definitely also that as well. My thing is, it's like they the way they talk about this bug is that like it ends up having like multiple different like traits of different bugs. Because one they're like, oh, all right, they're just all workers, and the other they're like, oh well, there's only in these colonies there's only like one queen, one and only one king who's the only fertile male, and like and so these things end up creating a colony of their own. So there's like thousands of these shits in underneath New York City, and now people I understand people that aren't from New York State who don't know anything about New York. The New York Underground is massive.
oh, I think there's like 50 miles of subway tunnels alone.
Yeah, and that's active.
Yeah.
Those are the active. There's whole subway stations under New York City that have been abandoned for decades. Right? That go back to like the 40s and shit.
Yes, it's kind of crazy. Certain hotels, like back in the day, had subways right beneath them that you could enter, and
Yeah. Yep.
it was just insane.
Yeah. So it's nutty. So like for those of you who've seen the Mario movie, when you see them going down into the sewer of New York, and you're like, wow, it's a cartoon. It's not really that big. No, it's really that big. It's really that big. There's pipes, tunnels, and this, that, because they didn't get rid of anything. When they stopped using stuff, they just built over it.
Yeah, I mean, the island of Manhattan essentially was, garbage was used to build on top of it. So,
Makes sense. No offense, anyone. No offense, no offense. I love Manhattan. I love Manhattan.
to increase the size of the island, they just kept piling ships, old ships. They would sink them or pile up garbage and earth just to extend the island out, and eventually, more and more people began to live on the island of Manhattan. And a lot of those people, when you get hundreds of thousands of people, they all poop. So sewers got to be made,
Mm-hmm. And then
and
again,
those
like I
are
said, stuff just
big
gets
sewers.
yeah. They're just building, and a lot of like I said, a lot of it's just they just kept building over stuff. The massive New York fire that happened fucking decades ago. Yeah, you what? Do you think they rebuilt? No, they built over.
Yes, they did.
They built over it. So like yeah, so it's like a perfect like breeding ground for like
Bugs.
yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the name of that fire was. Yes, the Great Fire of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in Brooklyn, if I remember correctly. I just don't remember the year when that happened. Where's Fire in New York City? Well, there's the Triangle Shirt Factory fire as well. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. So many people were died in that. But yeah, there was I think it was the Great Fire was in like 1666. Yeah, 1666. Great Fire took out blocks and blocks and blocks of the city. Everything just burnt down. But no, you think they rebuilt? No, they built over it. They built over it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything was made of wood back then.
Mm-hmm. So literally, like, if you go down, like you can literally fit another city underneath New York City. Pretty much, that's that's pretty much the best way of saying it. So yeah, they're fucking that's like a perfect breeding ground for these creatures.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But let's take a break. Let's hear from our podcast friends, and we'll be right back.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
Join the Pulse. We're excited to announce the launch of Heartline Comics' newest line, the Barcode Collection. Our fresh drop just hit the internet and is turning heads. Imagine this: you're rocking our merch, and friends can scan the barcodes to instantly connect with the Heartline Comics website. It's a game changer. Stay ahead of the curve and never miss a beat. Subscribe to our website for exclusive alerts on the latest merch drops and the newest comics hitting the shelves. Be part of the Heartline community and show off your style with pride. Trust us, you don't want to miss this.
All right, and we are back. But so before the break, we were just talking about how massive the underground of New York City is, and how it is the perfect breeding ground for creatures that have been genetically modified to pretty much to take out roaches, but ended up growing on their own. Now, again, like I said, my first thought would have been to, all right, it's been about a year. Let's head down here and make sure everything has been cleaned up. And let's go through and just kill anything that's still like left over living. Let's just go through with a flamethrower, with a blowtorch, and let's just murk them all. Let's clear it all out just to make sure, right?
Yeah, and maybe at least, seal all the sewers. but that's just an idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like they were cautious, but I feel like they weren't cautious enough when it came to these creatures. I feel like there was so much that more they could have done, especially number one is making sure the shits were actually fucking dead. But let's talk about why
Yes.
why the name of the movie is Mimic. And I would say it definitely doesn't get talked about too much. Like the only reason why they call it Mimic is because these type of bugs, some bugs in nature have evolved and adapted to mimic their predators to make it, so that they won't be, attacked or eaten. They're like, oh, I'm one of you guys, don't attack me. And that's exactly what these bugs ended up doing. What they did, they ended up mimicking their only natural predator, which
And
was
what do you?
humans.
Yeah.
Yep, which were humans. And with that, they pretty much like ended up like on their hands, like they have like these this armor plating on their hands that actually ends up forming into what looks like a human face. And so that's how the creature was walking around and nobody really noticed because it looked like a human face. You look like a weirdo, but you're in New York City. Fucking weirdos are everywhere. So you're not paying
That
it
is
no
the truth.
mind.
That is the
That's
truth.
that's just another day in the city. That's another day on the Lower East Side. You know what I mean? So you're not really, they're not really paying much attention to it. But that's one thing I feel like this film could have done better. They definitely could have like expanded on the whole mimic part a little bit more.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, because that part wasn't really well explained. It's the creature is able to basically what you said. It's mimics its natural predators.
Yeah, so it was just like, I don't know. It was just like that's the one part I was just like, I'm a little off about. There's a little off about it. But like, even though this movie was really good, it had what was it? The budget was like 30 million. It cost them 30 million to make to make this film, but it didn't make it back. This film was it was like a whole damn near a whole 10 mil short. Or even it was
Unfortunately.
like between, it's like 5 to 10 mil short. I believe like what the box office for it was like 25.5 mil.
Damn.
Yeah, so it definitely fell short. Because when you make a film, you want to at least make back your budget and plus like a quarter or maybe even like 25 plus 25%.
At
For
least.
me, and again, I'm no big producer, so maybe the numbers off. I mean, you want to make back what you made plus and like double. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want the movie to make at least double of what you
Put
what
into
you
it.
spent. Yeah, but for me, I'm like, all right, if I get back what I spent plus 25%, 50% would be nice. I'm down with that. But again, like we're talking like a big, massive company with multiple employees, so they're looking for double, quadruple, like what they put into it. So this film, like, even though it was good and it's definitely it's definitely a classic, it just didn't hit the mark on the money wise. So that's why there is there's a film 3, but those films went straight, well, like direct to video, direct to DVD. There was no theatrical release to them for them. But from what I read was like it received like mild reviews from critics, and it only grossed like here net is like I said, it was like 25.5, but the budget was 30. Additionally, Del Toro disowned the theatrical cut, stemming from clashes over creative differences with Dimension and Miramax heads, Harvey and Bob Weinstein. Well, we know how that ended up turning out.
Oh,
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, Dimension and Miramax were it was Harvey Weinstein and his brother Bob. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, we all know how that turned out. Yeah. But they ended up releasing the director's cut on Blu-ray and back in 2000 way back in 2011.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I might have to check out that director's cut and see what the like main big difference is. Because that's I'm pretty interested in that.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
No, definitely. So we talked about the effects, and like I really feel like the effects of this really like they held up, especially against, if we look at a lot of the films that we watched recently. I feel like, what is it? Species was like 95.
Yeah, 94, 95, I think.
Yeah, so I would definitely say the CGI between Species and Mimic, I would say Mimic had the better CGI. Mimic had
I
the better
agree.
effects. It still don't beat practical effects. Still don't beat practical effects. Which there were some. There were some in this film.
There were,
It
yeah.
was not a lot at all. But there definitely were certain points of like that they actually had a puppet and a puppeteer and everything. But I don't know. I just feel like, and even then, I would say like this CG was these effects were also a lot better than they were better than some of the current day films. I just feel like we're more like nowadays are just more. It's more creative. You know what I mean? Like the quality is not necessarily there, but a lot of times the quality ends up getting overlooked because of the, maybe how massive the effect is, or how creative they are with using the CG.
Yes, exactly. How detailed it is.
Exactly. So, well, my question is like, with a budget of 30 mil, I feel like this movie was solid. It was solid. I'm not gonna go on a limb and say that it was amazing or absolutely like great, and it was fucking this ain't it's no Titanic.
I agree. Yeah, it's not. I would not say. I don't even know if I would say great.
Mm-hmm. What would, like, so if you were to put this on a scale of let's see, how would I do the scale? If you were to put this on a scale of from, I don't want to do 1 to 10. I feel like that's very limiting. What's the worst film you've ever watched?
Oh man. The worst film? Oh my God, there's been a couple. Damn, I can't really think of one at the moment.
All right, so on a scale of from the worst film you ever watched to the greatest film you've ever watched, like, so that'll be like 1 being the worst film you ever watched, and fuck it, I'll do 1 to 10. I can't think of anything, so 1 to 10. 1 worst film you ever watched, 10 best film you ever watched.
I would definitely say that this was like a solid 6 or solid 6.
All right, why?
Well, just because of the age of the film, it's a little older. And also acting today in comparison to acting back then, Acting today is just much more. It's just much better. The acting is more believable. But I'm still gonna go and say that it's still worth watching. It's still worth seeing because you get to see a perspective like of a film that you really don't get to see that often.
No, I can agree with that. Me, I would put it about, I would say 6.5 to 7. And I agree with you. I would definitely, I'm gonna take into account the age of the film. It's definitely an older film. Um, I would say because there were certain story points that really weren't expanded upon as much. Um, and then on top of that, like I agree, definitely. I mean, the acting wasn't for me. It wasn't too bad for me. There definitely could have been improvements here or there. But
Yeah.
I did feel like the film was a little flat at times. There were definitely some spots that dragged a little bit, some areas that could have been cut out. Like the one of the first scenes, like after the 3-year time jump, they like when she's in the office and after the kids bring her the whatchamacallit, the bug. So there's a part where the full grown adult creature is pretty much like stalking her and shit like that. He ends up finding its way into her office and takes the bug.
Wonderful.
My thing is, I'm like, why did it stay? So like she goes over, she starts looking around because it knocks over the lamp or whatever. And my thing, why did it knock over the lamp? Why did it knock over the lamp? Why did it break anything at all? The bug was right there, clearly on a table. It literally all I had to do was pick it up and go back out the window. But no, it chose to knock over the lamp, break shit, get her attention, and then instead of dipping out the window after it broke the shit, it stayed, looked at her, you know what I mean, waiting for her to notice, and then when she does that quick turnaround, it was like gone, and then went out the window. Why? These are just bugs. I feel like at times they gave the bugs a level of sentience, but then at times they were just mindless bugs.
Yes, I get completely what you're saying. Some of the decisions that were being made by these bugs, like at times you can tell that the decisions that they were making, there was thought behind them, and then other times it's like, why? What are you doing?
Exactly. So that's what threw me off as well. And then hell, there was one point where the king or whatever at towards the end, the male bug, the only fertile bug, and he doesn't have wings. The chick and the kid are up in the dumbwaiter. You put him up there to keep them safe because he was about to blow shit up. But it makes a conscious decision. It stops, it looks up and sees that they're up there, comes back out of the dumbwaiter, sees the wire holding the dumbwaiter up, and makes the conscious decision, I'm gonna cut this wire.
Yeah. Like, how would it have known
Right?
that was a good idea?
Yeah, like somehow it had an extra level of sentience and comprehension to be like, okay, this is a gear, this wire is holding this up. I want to eat that, so let me cut this wire so that drops and I can eat that. That just doesn't.
Yeah,
it just really didn't make any sense.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
In comparison to the other decisions that were being made, like, yeah.
So, and then let's see, where's the other part? Oh yeah, the chick says, "All right, we need to rub the scent glands of the bug all over us so they'll think that we're one of them, and won't attack us. Okay. Logic makes sense. So why didn't they attack the boy when they first came across the boy when the kid went into the church crime scene shit? All right, yeah, he was using the spoons and was mimicking their noises, right? But wouldn't they? It's like me walking around just saying a bunch of random ass Spanish words. People speaking Spanish are gonna be like, "Yeah, you're not Spanish. Like you're not saying anything." I was like speaking to someone in like gibberish that just so happens to sound like their language. So like they would look at the kid like, one, you don't smell like us, and two, like you sound like us, but you're speaking gibberish. And then beyond their kindred shit, like you not like us.
You're not like us.
And so that I'm just confused. So why was a boy okay? And they pretty much took him and pretty much adopted him.
Yeah.
All because the motherfucker was playing some spoons.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like not like he was communicating back. So
you're not smart enough to realize that a human is a human and not a bug, but you're smart enough to realize to cut an elevator cable.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm definitely giving it like a 6.5, a 6.5, just because I found the story to be refreshing. And so on the positive side, I felt like the story was very refreshing. Felt like it did make sense. Like it was cohesive. You know what I mean? There wasn't much in there that much of like the actual concept. The concept makes sense. You know, the fact that the white coats in it were actually used a certain level of logic. You know what I mean? And they were like, we're putting a bunch of genetically modified bugs in the sewers. We should probably make sure that these things die out. You know what I mean? So let's put a self-destruct in there so they'll die out. We don't have to worry about it. Problem cleans itself. They eat the bugs and then they die. Problem solves itself.
There you go.
In theory, yes, that sounds very logical in theory. You know what I mean? And even the fact that the white coats didn't necessarily, they weren't like confident about their decision in the first place. They're like, oh yeah, no, we probably shouldn't have done that. Or, you know, this is probably like an affront to God or some shit. We're playing God here. We're not cool with that. Unlike most lab coats, they're like, it's alive. They're on their fucking Victor Frankenstein shit. These guys are like, don't wanna, but this is the best possible option so that thousands of children don't die.
Literally.
Yeah. And they actually had good intentions for what they're doing. They weren't on some Jurassic Park shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't a situation of just because they could, they did. No. Fuck, they weren't even sure if they could. They were just fucking around.
Yeah.
Just to find out.
We're not bringing back a creature that literally ate creatures over 10 times their own size. Why would we do that?
Yeah, why would we do that? Let's just make creatures that are 10 times, that are 100 times smaller than us that eat other creatures.
There you go.
To be honest, I would have rather than make a fucking dinosaur than making these little ass fucking insects that can run, crawl, get into little crevices that are fast and or rather a dinosaur.
I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
At least with a fucking dinosaur, you see it or hear it coming.
That's very true.
Yeah, you have a chance. Nah, but no, it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It's definitely not the best movie I watched, but not even close to the worst film I've watched. Which I don't even remember what the worst film I've watched is. I know I have one. I specifically remember me openly watching a film and be like, "This is the worst movie I've ever watched."
And you know how if you watch a terrible film that it's so awful that it's good.
Yeah, no, I'll those films, I'll gladly, on the scale of 1 to 10, I'll gladly give a film like that like a 4 or a 5.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because at least, it was so bad that it entertained me. This definitely entertained me. There was definitely moments where I was like, ugh, oh my God, I want to watch this part. You know what I mean? Plus, I like the fact that the black guy died. Well, he wasn't the first person to die.
He was not.
So that also made me feel good about the film. You know what I mean? And he was one of the most realistic black people in a movie I ever damn did see.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, he was only doing it because he had a job to do. But he also seemed like he was a true New Yorker, and he had like a love and a passion for the history of the city. And so he kind of was like, all right, yeah, I've been down here before, I've been through here before. I know where I'm going, know what I'm doing. I'm a New Yorker. This is whatever. Let's show these uptowners around real quick. Yeah, there's no problem whatsoever at all. And then when the weird shit started happening, he's like, what the fuck is going on? Comes around a corner and there's all the bug shit on the walls hanging from the ceilings. He's like, what the fuck is this? And then Josh Brolin's character is like, he says to the doctor, he's like, ask him. Just ask him. And it was so realistic because like they knew the answer, what the answer was. They're like, you gotta ask him. Just ask him. And he's like, he asked the cop, the black cop's like, have you ever seen anything like this? The cop looks at him, puts a flashlight in his face and says, do I look like I've seen some shit like this? Do I look like I've seen some shit like this? I'm like, that shit had me in tears. He was like, do I look like I've seen shit like this?
And that is exactly that's exactly what would happen.
Exactly what would happen. Like, the fuck? There's shit hanging from the ceilings. No, I ain't never seen no shit like this. And then he's like, what did he say? He said, damn, I'm trying to remember. Fuck. It was some funny. It was some funny ass shit that he said before the scene cut. He's like, the fuck I look like have I seen some shit like this before? Whoever did this shit, he's like who the fuck is gonna crawl up the wall and put shit on the wall and put shit from the ceiling? He's like, what did he call him? He said must have been some monkey ass motherfucker or some shit like that. And I'm like, he's like, must have been some monkey ass motherfucker. The fuck? Like, he's like, he was so fucking realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And I highly fucking enjoyed that. But let's take a quick break again. Let's hear from our podcast friends, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about our final remarks.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I would have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
Join the Pulse. We're excited to announce the launch of Heartline Comics' newest line, the Barcode Collection. Our fresh drop just hit the internet and is turning heads. Imagine this. You're rocking our merch, and friends can scan the barcodes to instantly connect with the Heartline Comics website. It's a game changer. Stay ahead of the curve and never miss a beat. Subscribe to our website for exclusive alerts on the latest merch drops and the newest comics hitting the shelves. Be part of the Heartline community and show off your style with pride. Trust us, you don't want to miss this.
And we're back.
We're back.
Yeah, so Mimic. This film is like I said, it's definitely to me it's a classic. I feel like, you know, it didn't do well box office wise. But it's definitely a film to watch, and definitely a film that it's enjoyable. It has the suspense. It has a story that has a relatively decent bit of depth to it. And it's like another film that kind of gets straight to the point. There's not much drama going on in the film, you know.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It's a movie about what it's about.
Yeah, right. All right, yeah. So I definitely, that's a great way to say that. Like, you know, there's no like being around the bush of, all right, we're gonna show a bunch of these, have these characters go off over to here and, you know, have a conversation about this, have a side conversation about that, or this and that.
Yeah, you know, like you can tell, you know, as you're watching a movie, a lot of stuff might happen in that movie where you're like, oh, why would they explain that? Or like, well, obviously that's what they're doing. Like, this movie doesn't have that. Like, this movie, they all act, it's all logical. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Everything that they're doing in this film is directly related to the problem of the film.
Yes, and everything makes sense.
Yeah, like
why they're doing what they're doing.
I feel like the only scene in this film that like didn't have anything to do with the problem at hand was, you know, the quick little side thing about him and her trying to have a baby.
Yeah,
and that
I would
it.
agree.
And that was it. And that was like a scene just to add a level of reality to it. You know what I mean? Like these are two people that live in New York City. They, you know, doing, you know, and they're trying to live their life 3 years after they just pretty much saved all of New York City. You know what I mean? And, you know, that was it. That was it, literally it. Everything else after that is directly related to trying to find a solution. One, trying to find out what the problem is, and then two, finding a solution for said problem.
Exactly. To the T.
Yeah. Well, we don't get that. We don't really get too much of that anymore. You know,
we really don't.
There's always a lot of like side drama.
So much more drama.
Yeah, it's like I'm here for a horror slasher film. You know, I'm not here to hear about how Nancy over here is loving on, you know, Jason, but Jason's in love with some random foreign chick that just transferred to, you know, their college or whatever. No, I don't care about that shit. I care about your ass getting ran down by the motherfucker with the machete.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And that's what I care about.
We're especially when we're talking about suspense thriller. Don't kill the suspense by having them talk about a new pair of shoes that they're trying to buy. You know what I mean? And deliberating and having a whole existential crisis about some other shit that ain't got nothing to do with the problem.
Oh
Like,
man.
yeah, that shit happens far too much these days in films.
Let alone films. That's the main problem with today's world. Are you kidding me?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And maybe that's their way of adding reality to the new films, but no, I'm if I'm watching a monster movie, I want monster. I want more monster than movie.
Nobody, unless you're crazy, I really don't think anybody likes added drama.
Yeah, that's how I felt about the Marvels. When I watched the Marvels, like there's a whole like a whole 30 minutes of the runtime of Marvel, like maybe a little bit more than 30 minutes, is about fucking Nick Fury, Kamala's family, and fucking what's the little cat's name from
What is his name? Not is it Oscar?
no, Goose.
Goose, that's it.
Goose. Yeah, there's a whole 30 minutes of the runtime of the film that is just dealing with the Goose having children on the damn sword station, and them trying to solve that problem. That shit has nothing to do with what's going on.
Yeah, and it was literally just like to be funny. Like it was,
Yeah,
and
it was just to pad the runtime.
like, yeah,
Yeah. So like,
disappointing.
yeah, there was shit like that was like unnecessary, and that's what I enjoy about this film. There's not much unnecessary shit. We got giant killer bugs doing giant killer bug shit, and humans trying to survive the giant killer bugs, and it's legit. So for me, like I would say this film isn't overly unique. I feel like this is a film that doesn't need to be redone. It is what it is. I feel like it wouldn't like there's some films that especially that we've talked about, within this last month that, to be honest, wouldn't have been cannot have be made nowadays just because of the subject content, certain shit that happens in the film, the verbiage and the language and stuff. It just wouldn't be done. But
Yeah,
this
I
film,
agree.
yeah,
I agree.
but this film, I feel like, is a film that really couldn't be done. Now it's just because of the subject matter would be too basic for the
Literally,
current times.
and horror back then in comparison to horror today. Horror today is more like thriller and
Yeah.
and actually, scare you in your seat, and real life situational danger, like horror films today.
Yeah, back in the day, a horror film was bloody. You went and you watched a horror film, you're seeing blood and guts, dismembered arms, heads exploding, eyes popping out of their head, fucking the thing, heads being ripped off of torsos using practical effects. That's horror.
That's horror.
When you make a horror film, there needs to be a level of gore, right?
Horror
And
gore.
yeah, that's what horror is missing these days, the gore part. Like there's no, it's all just blood. It's all just blood. There's no blood and gore. Because blood is like, oh, somebody's bleeding. Oh, they got punched in the mouth. Their mouth is bleeding. Gore is, holy shit, their arm is flying through the air while their body is going the opposite direction. Holy shit, he got split in half and his guts are spilling out.
Yeah, I would agree. That's gore.
Or, oh my god, There's a tree that just grabbed a woman and is now proceeding to rape the woman. That's gore. That's horror.
Yeah,
That's fucking horror.
I
Shout
get.
out to Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. That's horror,
I agree.
right? Like Invincible. If there was more like scare in there, it would, if it kept the level of gore, it would be a classic horror film, because just the level of gore in Invincible is crazy.
You're
And I
talking about
love
the
it.
animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
But also,
fully agree.
the rules for live action anime are different. You can show as much animated blood as you want, but when it comes to live action, they have limits on it. And for that, I fucking blame Evil Dead, and I blame films like Evil Dead and films like The Thing, because those films, and especially Evil Dead, literally, like, some of the rules that they have right now for a horror film are because of the Evil Dead.
Literally.
That's true horror.
Some of the things that happened in the original Evil Dead and the remake, well, I don't know if it happened in the remake, I can't remember, but some of the things that happened in the original film, you would never see today in a horror film. Ever.
A tree raping a woman, you would never see that shit these days. Never. I don't think they put that scene in, because in the remake, the remake wasn't exactly like the like the old one. It wasn't like complete like reshoot of the first one, or a remaster. It was like a legit like remake. Like they just like everything about it's different.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they definitely cut that scene out. But yeah, absolutely right. But this film, I feel like it wouldn't survive, just because the certain climate, like it's the concept is too basic. Nobody cares about giant bugs anymore.
Basic.
Yeah, that's it. Nobody cares about giant bugs anymore. That's just not a thing. Even then, creature films in general are kind of like are very lacking nowadays.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
So I don't know. Yeah, because normally, during the show we sit down and be like, oh well, how would you remake this movie nowadays? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't remake this film.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to modernize it. I wouldn't try to redo it in any way. It was good for what it was at the time that it came out.
Fully agree.
That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, a good movie. It was a fun movie to watch. There are 3. The second film is not it's not nearly as good. I would put the second film at like a 4 or a 5 for me. Just because it went more like it's more on the like slasher like vibe. Like it's still a creature film, but the way it's shot, it's like they're running from the creature. On the other hand, the first film is like they're trying to find the creature so they can kill the creature. This was the creature is after them and they're trying to run and hide from the creature, like old school slasher style, slasher kind of film. So I put it like a 4 or 5. But there's a third one. I have not watched the third one, and if the second one is like half as like it's literally just like half of what the first film was, this is gonna be half of the first film. So I'm not gonna watch the third one. But the second one, it's not bad. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to talk about is we talked about Species, and we talked about the one thing we mentioned is like the look of the actress, and the fact that like back then she's hot, right? This one, the first, the lead female character, she's also hot. The second one of this, I'm confused. Oh, I'm thoroughly confused because we got everyone in this film was like, oh yeah, she's a babe. Yeah, she's a babe. Yeah, she's hot. And I'm looking, I'm like, where?
Where?
Where, granted, beauty is objective. You know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So to them, she was probably a babe, but to 2001 standards, 'cause I lived in 2001. 2001 standards, nah, nope.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, nope. That was definitely, yeah, no. So I just found that weird about number two. They're all like, oh yeah, she's a babe. Yeah, she's hot. Whoa. Like, sir, did you watch the first movie? Did you watch the first movie? Do you understand what you're talking about? Like, this chick got nothing on the main female character from the first film. Nothing. I just wanted to touch on that fact. That really bothered me. I'm like, by 2001 standards, this lady, although very pretty and attractive, absolutely, but the words babe and hot would not be the words I would prescribe to her specifically.
I mean,
Nothing against her.
yeah, babe is like a very loaded word.
Yes. I would say attractive. I would say pretty, but babe and hot, that by 2001 standards, no. By 2001 standards, Pamela Anderson is babe. This lady was no Pamela Anderson, sir. No Pamela Anderson, sir. No Foxy Brown. No.
Oh, it's funny.
Yes. Yeah. So, but no, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. It was awesome. Next week, Tremors. So we're gonna have a fun week ahead of ourselves. A very fun week ahead of ourselves. Next week is our 99th episode, everybody. Our 99th episode. We are about to be one away from our 100th episode.
Crazy.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm ecstatic because I'm like, holy shit. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, so this whole week we will be rewatching Tremors 1, 2, and 3. If you go any further past 3, shit just gets weird. So
yeah, we're not gonna go past 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. We'll watch 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll leave it at that. And we'll come back to you guys next week with our breakdown of Tremors. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun, especially with the lead up to our 100th episode. Please stay tuned for our 100th episode. It's going to be we will be live, our 100th live episode. Cheers to another 100. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a great fucking time. Please tune in. And just remember, like, so my take. All right. So before we round off here, before we head on out, we got about 10 minutes. Before we head on out, what is your takeaway from watching Mimic?
Oh, definitely worth watching. I would say if you have never seen a horror movie about, like a monster creature out to get you, then I would highly recommend watching this one. Like for that first film that you watch, because this is like that classic monster movie out to get you, chase you, hunt you down. And also this movie really does get you to think outside the box.
How so?
And I just feel like it makes you think, well, I mean, a giant bug is really a situation you really don't tend to think of.
That's true, and I feel like that also plays on a bigger fear for people as well. Like, just a lot of majority of people are afraid of bugs. There's at least one bug that you don't fuck with.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Whether it be bees, whether it be flies, whether it be fucking roaches. Majority of people are afraid of spiders nowadays. My hands raised here. You know what I mean? There's some bug that y'all don't fuck with. And now imagine that bug being 7 foot tall.
Yeah. I'm not ever going to watch the movie Arachnophobia.
I feel like the only film that I've watched that has to do with spiders that I actually enjoyed watching was Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever watched Eight-Legged Freaks?
I have not.
Bro, it is fucking hilarious. It is such a great movie. Yeah, I highly recommend watching Eight-Legged, so it's legged freaks. It is absolutely fucking great. It's funny. It's definitely terrifying at times. But it's definitely more on the comedy side. Definitely more on the comedy side. I'd have to say, like, I watched this film, I'd say when it first came out, I watched it maybe about 10, 15 times.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And then just like the spiders looked really, 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 really good too. It stars David Arquette.
Oh, okay.
Yep. David Arquette's the main character. And ScarJo's in it as well. ScarJo plays the secondary main character's mom.
I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah. But yeah, it's highly recommend. It came out in 2002. It's like an hour and 40-minute film, and it is fucking great. It's so fucking great. Highly recommend. But so for me, my takeaway from the film is, number one, it reinforces the road to hell is paved with good intentions for me. It definitely reinforces that, all they wanted to do was save kids' lives, and in turn they started fucking creating wild ass monsters and shit. In fact, but also I want to point out that they did achieve their goal. They did save the children. They did eradicate the roaches that were spreading the virus, or spreading the disease, and they did in fact cure and save a lot of kids. A lot of kids did survive. They did what they set out to do.
And that's good.
Yeah, I would say the other part is, it's something that I also live by, is cover your own ass. If you make a decision that you yourself are not 100% certain of, it's always good just to go back and check. Just to go back. There's nothing wrong with double checking. Nothing wrong with double checking. And the fact that they did all that, they were like, all right, cool. We really probably shouldn't do this, but since we are, let's put that kill switch in there for them so that they die after a certain amount of time. Yeah, just be extra cautious. You can never be too careful. You can never be too careful.
Nope.
Never be too careful. Always cover your ass, watch your ass, be extra cautious about everything. Double check your locks on your doors. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being a little extra cautious.
Nope.
They were cautious, but not cautious enough. And then they ended up with that problem.
And that was a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we don't, honestly, on screen, we don't see a lot of people die on screen in this film.
No.
now I'm really thinking about it. Let's see. How many people do we actually physically see the bug kill? There's the cop.
It's a few, I know that, but it's not like crazy.
Yeah. So there's the cop. There's Josh Brolin's character. There's there's the kid's dad.
Yeah.
There's the Asian dude in the beginning, the priest.
I think it might be like 5 or 6 people. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's about it. But
Which
yeah.
isn't terrible.
Nope, not at all. But no, man, with that being said, it's I enjoyed the movie. It was awesome. It was great. It was fun. And I don't know, for me, I look forward to next week. I look forward to next week because I love Tremors so much. I love this so much. It was definitely on the comedy side of things, and then damn near almost anything with Kevin Bacon in it's good.
Anything with Kevin Bacon in it's good.
Yep. Same thing with Ethan Hawke.
Yes.
Yeah. Same thing with Ethan Hawke. But yes, with that being said, that has been the Super Breakdown, y'all. Please tune in next week while we're going over the first 3 Tremors films. So definitely tune in, and we will catch you guys next week. And as always, remember, fuck prep time.
Remember, fuck prep time.
Oh, by the way, stay tuned. We got some big things about to be happening soon. So definitely stay tuned. Not only do we have a 100th episode, but during the 100th episode, we have quite a few we have like 2 big announcements for you guys. So definitely tune in. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Tune in.
Peace.
Peace out.